Have you ever had a quilting emergency where you had to get a quilt done quickly? I can help you out. I do it every year for the Project Quilting challenges. Here are some tips on how I make my quilts in only 1 week. I'm also giving you information about how to enter the Project Quilting challenges in case you want to enter them too. Kim Lapasak from Persimmon Dreams has been hosting a challenge every year for the last several years where she invites people to make a quilt in just 1 week. It's a spin-off of the Project Runway challenges, but this is a quilting challenge. Kim has asked her friend Trisha Franklin to choose a theme for the challenge. Trisha posts a challenge every other week, and you have just 1 week to make the quilt based on that challenge from start to finish. You can't start it before the challenge is announced, and you have to finish it by the deadline, which is just 1 week away. So in this video, I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how to be able to make a quilt in just 1 week based on my hard-earned experience. I made the mistakes so you don't have to. Okay, so let's get started. It looks like there were 227 people who made quilts in just 1 week for the Project Quilting 15.1 Birdhouse Challenge. Let's take a look at them, shall we? Happy little clouds, my spring birdhouse. Cave with the nest and eggs. House finch. All of these people, all of these participants posted their picture on several different sites. Maybe some of them have blogs, some of them have Instagram. Some of them are also on Facebook, and people who don't have a place to post sent their pictures to Kim, and Kim posted the pictures for them. A lot of creative ideas, a lot of variety. A little crooked birdhouse. Barn quilt. This one's got a nice background to it too for the love of birds. As you can see, a lot of people made a lot of quilts, a lot of creative ones. You can see most of them small enough that you can make them in a week. And there's mine, 198, Haven of Harmony. And yet more people came after I was finished posting mine. The little bookmark. You can see there's no size requirement on how to make your quilt. And this one's Blue-Footed Scrap Saber's Nest. It's got a lot of leaves on it. That one's pretty. And every time that you enter a piece in the challenge, you're entered for a random drawing to win one of the amazing prizes from the sponsors. And there's a big list of sponsors that are available. Here are my top 6 tips on how to make a quilt in just 1 week. The first tip is to start on time. This is one that I learned the hard way. There was at least one time when I didn't see the challenge until the deadline day, and I had to make a really quick quilt on the day of the challenge due date, which is Sunday. So since then, I've put the challenge dates on my calendar so that I know to look out for the challenge announcement. And that gives me enough time to think about the idea, and it gives me time to come up with a plan for what I'm going to make. The second tip is to make your project small. If you think that you have time to make a king-size quilt, maybe you should make a lap quilt instead. If you think you have time to make a placemat, maybe you should make a mug rug instead. You know the saying, everything takes twice as long as you expect? For me, it doesn't work that way for this challenge. Normally things take 4 times as long as I expect. So the more manageable the project is, the more likely you are to be able to finish a challenge within the week. You have to remember that this is an endurance race and not a sprint, because they are challenges that come out every other week. And if you want to participate in them, then you want to make sure that's an enjoyable process for you. My next tip is to go with your first decision and don't second guess it. This is not a challenge to make the very best project ever. Kim will be doing a random drawing to pick the winners of the challenge. It's not a competition of making the very best quilt. This challenge is a great way for you to practice on making something, and whether or not your quilt looks the way you wanted it to look or is as good as you could make it, you can always make a quilt later where you have time to make decisions and make everything as perfect as you can. My next tip is to use fabrics that you have nearby or already on your table. Usually I use fabric that's leftovers from a project that I'm currently working on or from the last project that I worked on. That way I'm not digging through all of my stash to look for the perfect fabric. Another tip is to use techniques that you already know. Because of the quick deadline, you really don't have time to practice with a lot of new techniques. To me, it just avoids the stress of having to go through that. Another tip that I have is that you can look on the blog, on the challenge blog, to see what other people are making. Most people start right away and they start posting on the day of the announcement. So you'll be able to see what other people are making, and you can use that as your inspiration for what you want to make. And the final tip that I have is to not rush it. Take your time to make the quilt the way you want to make it and enjoy the process. If you try to rush it, you'll be unhappy with the project. You may make more mistakes. You may hurt yourself. Purpose of the challenge is to have fun with the community and be able to make something fun and stretch your skills a little bit, stretch your ideas, and you don't want to get hurt in the process. I really enjoy working on these project quilting challenges because it helps stretch my creativity, stretch my imagination, and helps me think about quilting in a different way. It also helps me get lots of little projects done. It helps me not overthink my decisions so much because I don't have a lot of time to be able to think through too much. It really helps to show that you can make really quick quilts that still wind up being beautiful, that not every quilt has to be painstaking to be beautiful. Last year was the first year where I made all of the project quilting challenges. I've posted a video that shows all of the quilts I made last year. I'll put a link to it here on this page. Thank you for watching. I appreciate all of your support, and I'll see you in the next video.